Maybe I figured it out. Maybe I figured it out. Maybe it is live. I am not sure. Um, please let me know if you can hear me. If you're still here, we have quite the show today. I have a lot of things to share with you guys. I think maybe it's working now. I am not sure. Um, we're just gonna have to wait and see what is happening. I have really a really good show for you. An explanation, because so many people have asked me, will you fight for the Russian Federation? They ask me maliciously and they ask me sometimes honestly. They ask me sometimes in good faith. So there's two camps. There's one side that hates me and wants me to go die in the trenches, and there's another one that is just saying, hey, you were a veteran. Maybe you can fight for the Russians now that you live in Russia. So I'm going to be looking at this point of view from both sides. I take both really seriously because at the end of the day, I'm at the mercy of the Russian government here. Uh, One second. I think my stream is going to be a little laggy today again. I'll sort this out. How is everybody today, by the way? Can you hear me? Is everything fine? Can you guys see the stream all right? I know perhaps I'm again laggy. I'm still waiting for my new computer. Good morning to everyone. Um, okay, so on today's show, I'm going to be going over exactly why I can't join the Russian military. Um, it is a mixture of why I can't, why I won't, and why they won't even let me. Okay, so we're going to be talking about all of this. Let's uh let's have some people log in. I'm telling you, this show today is going to be really, really good. I have really, really good stuff lined up for you guys. So just sit back and enjoy the show. You're going to get to learn a lot today. You're going to get to learn military things. You're going to learn about me, and I'm so excited to share this with you. Okay. So before we get into this, let me see. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see this? We're going to be going down a memory lane here. I'm going to be breaking down essentially my military career, what I know as a military person. When I crossed the border into Russia the first time, I was actually questioned by FSB. They knew that I served in the Marine Corps because of my visa. They knew I served in Afghanistan. They knew my rank, and they had me for about 2 to 3 hours asking me like, "What is your military experience? Do you plan on fighting for Russia? Do you plan on fighting for Ukraine?" All of these things were they were asking me when I came in. This is me, a young corporal in the United States Marine. I think this is 2011. After no, this might be yes, 2011 after one of my deployments to Afghanistan. You guys who are watching, hello, hello for everybody who's tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing if you want to talk. Anyways, as you can see, the ribbons that I have on my chest were not the last of my ribbons. This is my full stack actually. And I'm gonna pause here. This is my full stack. So, oh, that's my father. Buenos dias, padre. If you know your ribbons, if you're in the military, you can tell that I'm combat decorated. I have good conduct. I have my Afghanistan ribbon with a couple stars for the different campaigns that I was in Afghanistan. So all of these ribbons mean something, right? So I'm only showing you my ribbons. I'm showing you my experience, I guess, just so that you guys can understand. I'm not like a simpleton, I guess I would say. I'm not just I mean, I don't want to. This thing's freezing on me. 1 second. I'm just gonna get this ready here. The okay. So can anybody hear me, guys? Is everything okay? We're going over my military career right now, so you understand, because I will be talking about the uh, Russian military, and we're going to be looking at videos. We're going to be looking at everything, comparing my experience with the current war in Ukraine. Okay, so here we go. This is my decorations. Again, I'm combat decorated. I've been decorated by the Navy and the Army with this joint meritorious ribbon here. All of these ribbons don't mean anything. Okay, only two of them rate. There's only two ribbons on my stack that actually mean something. It's the combat action ribbon, the one that's blue, yellow, and red at the sides, and the Afghanistan campaign. If you are a military man like myself, those are the only things that matter. If you deployed to war and if you actually saw combat, my ribbons say that I actually saw combat, and a Marine, that's what he was bred for, right? Here you see in the picture, I'm wearing some of the decorations that I later have in the other photo, but for the most part, it is what it is. So, um, another thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that my job is here. This is my job. I was a combat engineer for the United States Marine Corps, and essentially, what I would have to do is go in the front of the infantry. I would go in front of everybody with my metal detector, and I would look for landmines, improvised explosive devices, booby traps, you name it. We would find booby traps with no explosives, just like Vietnam. A lot of trip wires, a lot of pressure release IEDs. My job was just to find the IEDs, okay? So, a majority of my time in the war was spent looking down, looking for landmines. And I wanted to share this with you guys. This is actually a photo that I took recently. And it's my book that I used in the Afghanistan war. You can see Castle is my moniker, I guess, my alias. I was known as Castle. That was my call sign in the war. In the Afghanistan war and in the Ukraine war, you see a lot of soldiers with code names, or also known as, and their nicknames. And my nickname was Castle. That was my call sign. So if you were on the radio, you would be calling Castle, Castle, and I would call back. And it comes from my last name, Castellon. So you can see this book is my diary. I carried this book through the Afghanistan campaign in between my breast, my plate carrier, and my chest. A lot of these things I never even showed my mother. I'm pretty sure my mother doesn't know about this war book. This book actually survived fires. It survived a lot of bad things. And you can see there, Corporal Castle, Bravo 1, Bravo Company, 3rd Squad, 2nd Fire Team. This is the first page of my war book. Now, I have to say, the first page gives instructions. The first page gave instructions that if I were to die, nobody should be crying for me. If I were to die and the book were to survive, the book on the first page absolutely lets people know this is what I'm about. Everything is fine. And I'm going to tell you right now, I used to shave my mustache like this. I used to shave my mustache like this before every major operation. And it was a joke that I had. It was an inside joke because if I died, I want people to laugh at me. I didn't want none of my men to cry. And you're gonna see right now in the upcoming photo a little bit later. Actually, this is how I looked in the war. I used to shave my mustache like Charlie Chaplin. You can see the book actually burned a little bit on the outside, and it was warped from all of the sweat from my plate carrier. It's really warped. So I'm giving you guys a little bit of a backstory here. Now, this is what I'm talking about. When I used to shave my mustache, I used to shave it so when I died, if I died in combat, nobody would cry. So I'm giving you guys my backstory, okay? We're going to be looking at more photos here. This is how I looked in 2010, 2011 in Afghanistan. A lot of people might think this is like Nazi stuff. Absolutely not. It's just war humor. We got so used to death that we knew it would be comedy to die like this. It is perhaps one of the funniest things about war is that we don't care to die. We just want to make the best of times of the worst of times. You know what I'm saying? This was my gift to my men if I were to die. So we're going to continue on here. And just remember, war is hell, and you have to make the best of it. Here I am again with my metal detector. This was camouflage paint. I used to paint my face because of the glare of the sun. It would sunburn me. So we used camouflage paint as a sun repellent. That is my metal detector. I carried it everywhere. All right. This is me on patrols with little Afghan kids. Now I'm showing you my side of the war. A little bit later, I'm going to show you a video. This is that famous photo from the cover. I took this as a war trophy. You can see I'm pretty salty. This is me after I came back with my best friend. He's now a gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. So all of these things, this is my best friend. This is my squad. Now, the squads in the Marine Corps are infantry, right? We that is what you're watching is my infantry engineer squad. We did all of our work together, and we went through the whole war as an engineer squad. I used to carry cigarettes on my Kevlar like Vietnam. I used to smoke I'm even embarrassed to say it, but up to 5 packs a day in the war. This is my company. We took losses by IEDs. This was just the regular stuff in Afghanistan. A lot of people don't know this, but in Afghanistan, I actually used the flamethrower. You can see I'm using a flamethrower. A lot of people think that flamethrowers stopped existing after World War II, but in Afghanistan, we were some of the few people to actually use a flamethrower in combat. We used to flamethrower entire fields, and in some positions that Taliban had, you would just burn the hell out of the trenches, like wadis. Sometimes they would put explosives in the wadis, and it's just how it is. We would burn the poppies that they used to make heroin. So this is what we're burning here. We're burning the wadi and the fields because they used to shoot at us from the other side, so we were burning the trenches, the trench lines. Now, just remember what I'm saying, okay? I have experience in trench warfare. Afghanistan was a lot of trench warfare. The trenches were naturally built by the canals. And I am letting you know this because we're going to be looking at videos from Afghanistan and Ukraine. Good morning, Burbank, California. So yes, we used the flamethrowers in Afghanistan. We went back in time and we were using all of the weapon systems that prior Marines were using. Okay, and I want to stop here because that is me with my Afghanistan cover there. Look at this. In that picture, I have the equivalent of this hat here. This is a Afghanistan era cap for the Soviet Union. This is a gift that was given to me by a subscriber. So this is an Afghan campaign cover for the Soviet Union. Okay, so this is what I'm wearing in that photo, but for the Americans in the Afghanistan war. So we're going to continue looking at these photos here. Just look at how dirty I am. Look at how desolate the area looks. Very flat ground. I used to fight in ground terrain. Very, very flat. You can see we are building berms, okay? We're building trench systems, essentially. Afghanistan, we did trench systems, but we also did high-rise HESCO systems. And that's the stuff behind me for that. Here we have a picture of me after combat. Pretty dirty with my buddy there in a bunker. You will see a lot of footage from Ukraine. A lot of men are looking like this, dirty and in bunkers. We are going to be showing you the difference in our wars, and today I'm going to talk about why I cannot go to war, but why I think I qualify, but I'm not going to go. This is Afghanistan. It's very flat. On the left of that photo, there's a trench or a wadi. This is my old squad, always camied up. Hello, Diego. By the way, guys, remember, if you are not subscribed, subscribe now. Okay, because now we're going to get into the good stuff. So I'm going to be showing you guys now a video of my combat. This is my combat style in Afghanistan, okay? We are going over my military career. If you're just joining us, I'm an Afghanistan war veteran. I live in Russia, and a lot of people have been asking, are you going to be fighting in the Ukraine war? Why haven't you signed up? I'm going to show you my qualifications. This is my combat style in Afghanistan.
Was it really? Get the fuck over here! Hey! Just cover us right back here.
So you can see right here the grenadier where he's standing. A lot of Afghanistan is absolutely flat, and we're going to be looking at Ukraine and how flat it is. And Ukraine is essentially the same way. It's flat open areas with tree lines. And Afghanistan was only that. Tree lines and these trench wadis that you see. The Afghans would use these little canals as trenches. A lot of them were sometimes chest deep, okay? So just keep that in mind. This is the Mark 19. This is a automatic grenade launcher. The Russians have an equivalent of this item, but they use it as a mortar machine. I'm not sure what the name of the weapon for the Russians is, but they have a mortar style grenade launcher. It actually lobs them at a bigger angle. I'm just showing you the different weapon systems that we used in Afghanistan. The Russians also used the same weapon systems, right? So let's continue looking at this video before we show you the Ukrainians one.
Come down to. I keep pushing down in there.
There's the open fields again. These are the trench lines. These are the trench lines that I'm talking about. Now, myself, I earned my combat action in those fields, on trench lines just like that. So we had no air support, we had no artillery. We were fighting with an enemy that was better trained than the majority of the world. At that time, the Taliban were absolute elite warriors in open field warfare. Okay, so just understand that that is what's happening in this shot. Okay, this is an open field with the trench. This is where I got my combat action. This is where I was decorated in combat in fields just like this.
Push up to this tree line right here, and we'll take her out.
That's the 240 right there, gonna open up. That's a 240 opening up. That's our heavy machine gun. That's a 240. Okay, this is the United States Marine Corps fighting in Afghanistan. You see these berms. These berms are actually trench-like. When you're fighting the Taliban, you're fighting 100 meters at a time. You're bounding to the next tree line, to the next berm, to the next trench. So that is my experience, okay? I'm going to continue showing you this, and then we're going to move on to the Russian war in Ukraine.
That compound right there. Right to the don't go all the way, set. We gotta keep bounding.
All right.
Let's go.
I gotta. Check this out. Look at this. Look at this.
Right there. Down the grass. Right over
You see, they're going over big wadis there. So that's enough. Okay, that's enough. Now I'm going to show you the Ukrainian side in Russia. I think it's fair to say, if you see this video, it's fair to say that Afghanistan has very similar geography to Ukraine. They're both very flat. Every 100 meters, there's maybe another tree line. Every 100 meters, there's another trench line. Every 100 meters, there's a forest. Afghanistan was this, okay? In my humble opinion, well, before I say what I have to say, we had no air support, we had no artillery, we had no tanks, we were fighting in open fields, absolutely man to man. When you compare the Ukraine to Afghanistan, I believe, and this is just my opinion, maybe a lot of people are going to get very mad. At that time, the Afghans had already been fighting for decades. The Afghans were masters of their terrain. They were absolutely very good at fighting. Without a doubt, I would say that the Afghans were not just guys in sandals, okay? The Soviets fought these guys, people who wore these hats. The Soviets fought the same people I fought. I fought children of the men who these guys fought, and both of us lost, okay? So just remember that. Uh, Now let's go look at the other one. So this is Ukraine. You're going to be looking at a video of Ukraine of Russian soldiers in Ukraine. Pay attention to the how the ground is. Pay attention to the geography. Look at how the men are moving. Okay, this absolutely yes, of course. The north of Afghanistan had mountains. Okay, but not the Taliban had their stronghold next to Pakistan in Kandahar and the Helmand province. So if you're a veteran of the Afghanistan war, you would understand the history of the Taliban, and their strongest points were absolutely in Helmand and Kandahar. That is where all of their fighters came from. The originals came from Pakistan. So please look at the geography here.
AFU soldier records a large number of military equipment destroyed by artillery and drones of the Russian armed forces on the approach to the city. Kurakovo repeated the same scenario as Artemovsk, when the group locked in the city was first deprived of logistics and then forced to leave in small groups along soggy roads. Ukrainian sources also confirmed this event. The Russian armed forces captured almost all.
All right, so I'm gonna find for you a video of the geography inside of Ukraine so you guys can see it further. Now I am gonna be pulling these videos up. Feel free now. Let's take a break. Let's take a break and go ahead and ask some questions, guys. Go ahead and ask some questions. Maybe you guys are curious about something. I'll be happy to answer them before we get into the next segment. And remember, if you're watching, please do consider subscribing. After I show you the Ukrainian version, I'm going to tell you one reason why I cannot fight for the Russians. So go ahead and ask some questions now, and we'll continue on with the show. How do I think the war is going to end? Well, the Russians are going to win another major victory, and there's going to be another major battle, and the Ukrainians are going to have to surrender. I do all my military analysis in the Real Reporter channel. I predicted most of the major battles that have happened inside of Ukraine already, and it's going to be bleeding out the enemy. How do you sientes que tienes secuelas? ¿Qué es una secuela, oiga? Do you learn the language? No. And that is one reason why I cannot join the military in Russia. My Russian language is not good enough. Okay? My Russian language is not good enough. I'm going to tell you right now, when I was in Afghanistan and they gave us Afghan troops, we used to push them through doors, kick them into trenches, push them down holes. And that is something that could happen to me if I join the Russian military, because I don't speak the same language as them. There could be problems between myself and my unit. I wouldn't be able to perform to the best of my ability because I wouldn't be able to communicate with my unit. So language is absolutely one thing that keeps me from joining the Russian military. There is, in fact, places I could join. There's many Americans who have joined private militaries, but I do not believe in mercenary work. Mercenary work is absolutely evil. It's a bad thing to do, and I would never do it myself. Let's see. What if Russia loses? No, it's impossible for Russia to lose because they have been on the offensive the entire time, and you can never win against Russia. The best you can do is tie, and a tie means nuclear war and the end of the world. Russia can never lose. The best you can do is tie against Russia, and that's a loss. That is something that I came up with myself. I want to coin that. I've always said Russia cannot lose. The best you can do is tie, because a tie with Russia is a loss. And this is something that I tell people because Russia would never allow itself to lose. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for the kind words. So, what I wanted to say is that I have the experience to be able to fight. I know in my body that I can do very good engineer work. There's many things that I predicted in this war way before they happened because of my experience in the Afghanistan war. People call this a modern war, but the Ukrainians and the Russians actually lack a lot of ingenuity in the front lines. And they're only now just catching up. A lot of trenches that they build, they could absolutely booby trap the hell out of them, and they're not actually booby trapping them. They started doing it when they built the Zaporozhye line. The Russians got really serious about a fake trench line. When we were already doing that in the Afghanistan war, the Russians learned that way later against the Ukrainians. So I totally believe that I have the experience to be able to fight in the Ukrainian conflict, but my language skills keep me away from doing that. That is one reason, and we're going to continue on the show, and I'm going to keep expanding on why I believe I cannot join the Russian military. Michael, thank you so much for subscribing. By the way, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing so you can come in on a Russian bear. All right, so I'm reading some of your comments. Hello, Dan. I'm catching up right now from earlier in the video. Thank you for making the video discussing the subject. Yes, a lot of people want to join the military of Russia, but they don't have the experience. A lot of the guys who have volunteered to fight for Ukraine don't have the experience. And I'm going to be showing you guys a video of a Ukrainian volunteer, a mercenary, getting captured. This is another reason why I cannot join the military in Russia, because if I were to join the military, the only military I can join is mercenary groups, and this is what happens to mercenary groups.
Is war. Remember this guy.
James Scott Rees Anderson.
This is a British guy that got captured in
2002.
Ukraine.
I did a video about him, but now it seems his story is complete, as further footage has been released. This is the moment when British mercenary...
Okay, by the way, guys, viewer discretion is advised. You're about to see a Westerner get captured by the Russian forces. I'm showing this for instructional purposes only. Why you should not become a mercenary for Russia or Ukraine, because the Geneva Convention does not apply to you. This guy is a terrorist. Okay, he's in jail, and he's gonna be sent to Siberia, close to here, to work in a prison labor camp. Mercenaries are not protected by the Geneva Convention, and I do not condone it. Now let's watch this video of this mercenary who's fighting for Ukraine get captured. He is lucky that the Russians did not do him in right there.
James Anderson was captured by soldiers of the 810th Marine Brigade in the Kursk region, filmed on the helmet-mounted camera of the Briton himself. A group of Ukrainian soldiers, including a foreigner, found themselves surrounded in a forest while changing positions due to the commander's lack of understanding of where they should go next and were under constant fire. At one point, a group of Russian Marines came out point blank to the hidden soldiers and takes them prisoner. This all happened on November 23, 2024, Kursk region. Take notice. At one point before surrendering, he said he will kill them all.
Там, де яма з мусором, біля рівера, я не знаю, куди йти. Чую стрільбу по нас.
I'm gonna fucking shoot them. I'm gonna fucking shoot them.
All right, so at that moment, the British guy says, I'm gonna effing shoot them. But because of his unit is so untrained, they actually got flanked. In this video, you get to see the Russians flank the Ukrainians, and they come on their back. They get them from behind. No pun intended. But this is a horrible, horrible unit. These are mercenaries. These are untrained people, and let's watch them get captured.
Стоп! Ног! Иди сюда! Иду! Ложь! Сюда! Там еще прикрывай, смотри, там еще идут! Ложись! Еще где оружие? Ножик, все, гранат где?
Два гранада.
Держи на мушку держи. На спину ляжь. Это кто?
Американский, не разумею.
Кто? Американский?
Американский.
Понятно. Эти наши. Сюда. Вон, особенно вон тот. Ложись на живот. Живот, на спину ляжь.
Снимай с него броню. Проще будет. Камеру сними.
Руку держите, смотрите.
Это самое. Я его пристрелю.
Стоять!
So he's getting taken out right now. He's getting unarmed and he's getting searched.
Video from the body camera of British mercenary James Anderson, who fought on the side of the Ukrainian armed forces in the Kursk region. The footage was filmed in the Sudchansky district during the encirclement of the Ukrainian armed forces by Russian Marines. "I'm going to shoot them," the mercenary shouts towards the Russian military, and almost immediately he is laid face down on the ground by the Marines of the 5th Battalion of the 810th Brigade. For the terrorist act and mercenary activity, James Anderson was sentenced by the court to 19 years in a maximum security penal colony. The court ruled that he will serve the first 5 years of his sentence in prison, with the remainder in a penal colony. Here is a full interview with James Anderson. Let's see what he has to say.
Okay, so introduce yourself.
My name is James Anderson, on 24th of May 2002, from Banbury.
We can watch his interview later. Okay, we'll watch his interview later, but just understand that mercenary has zero training. And the majority of the mercenaries on both sides have zero training. I've seen a lot of American Marines and soldiers who have fought for the Ukrainians, zero training. Okay? And they end up dead. If you join a military as a mercenary, you're going to be used as meat shield. There is also Americans fighting for the Russians, and I did my background check on them, and they have no combat experience. They themselves can also become meat shield if they don't speak the language and if they have no prior military experience. I know what mortar rounds sound if they're going to explode 10 meters away or 100 meters overhead. I know what shots sound when they're going overhead or to the side of me. I know how to react when I take contact. These mercenaries get Russians and Ukrainians killed. Okay? Listen to what I just said. If you are joining the military and you don't know the language, you're putting your unit at risk. If I were to join the Russian military, I would accidentally put men at risk because I cannot communicate with them. This is a bad unit cohesion. I knew the shadows of my men in the Afghanistan war. My men, if they took showers, I knew every hair on their balls. That's how tight I was with my men. If you're a mercenary, you cannot know your men. If you join a foreign military, it's very hard to communicate. When I tell you that I knew every hair on my men's ball sack, absolutely true. We showered every day together. We were everywhere together, and men in war are naked together very, very often. Okay, this is what builds unit cohesion, and I say this to absolutely grind it in your head. If I were to join the Russian military, I would be a big problem for them. Okay, so we're gonna continue. We will be watching the interrogation that he's going through, but we're gonna watch it later. I want you guys to see something else here. Okay. Actually, this guy is one of my subscribers. Maybe you guys know him. Patrick Lancaster subscribed to my channel. Big shout out to him. But we're going to be watching a video by Patrick Lancaster here. This video is very, very near and dear to my heart, okay? Because what we're about to watch is something that I had to go through every day in the Afghanistan war. And please, comment in the comment section right now. We're going to be watching a video by Patrick Lancaster. Do you guys know Patrick Lancaster? If you know him, spam yes. If you don't know him, spam no. We're going to continue on with the show. But I want to explain what's going to be happening in this video before you watch it. But we need to know if you guys know Patrick Lancaster. Shout out to him. He's a subscriber of this channel. And I offered to him that I would metal detect for him. So here we go.
Вот мина.
Вот это?
Да, это мина.
Да.
Он тебе ногу оторвет. So, you ever had him step out in a mina, да? I almost just stepped on a landmine that was dropped from a drone. Well, that sucks. Well, I mean, I guess it's good I didn't step on it. That was a close one.
Патрик, наш друг, чуть не наступил на мину.
Wow.
Вы что-нибудь там нашли американские?
Чуть-чуть он на Джоника наступил.
Американские.
Патрик, как ощущения?
No, это...
So on today's report, Patrick Lancaster was reporting in from somewhere, and drone flew overhead, drops the explosive. The explosive doesn't go off. This is UXO, unexploded ordnance, and some of these explosives are still pressure activated. So a lot of these take some pressure to blow up. And it was really, really good of him to notice these explosives on the floor, guys. These can rip your freaking legs apart, okay? So let's just continue watching here. Please pay attention to the terrain. We watched the Afghanistan footage earlier, very similar, very flat.
Ближе забора, блин. Вот, я 10 сантиметров от этого.
Поставил ногу.
Да, 10 сантиметров от этого.
Он пошел смотреть, вон тот прилет.
Вот, видишь?
Вон еще один Джоник валяется, вон он.
О, еще мина.
Да, вот еще
Знаешь,
одна.
они как сбрасывают.
Вот еще одна, видишь? Вот.
Мы вставать на мина зона.
Здесь все заминировано, поэтому осторожно под ноги смотри.
Этот, знаете...
О, еще. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mines.
А сколько их вот здесь?
Снаряды пока.
Валяется, вон их сколько, они тут все везде, вон, видишь?
Очень аккуратно.
His position where he's at right now is absolutely surrounded by landmines, but these are more of unexploded ordnance that fall from a drone. Sorry. So one of the biggest differences is that I didn't fight against drones at the time. In Afghanistan, there were no drones. The best that we had was a gyro cam. It was a stick that would go up into the air and it would look at 360 degrees. We had no advantage over the enemy. When you are fighting an enemy that is equal to you, where both of them have drones, where both of them have tanks, where both of them have an air force, this is a more leveled fight. And I believe that the Afghanistan war was very leveled for the infantrymen like me. And in the Ukrainian-Russian war, they are very leveled. The men are fighting, sometimes hand-to-hand combat. A lot of you guys have seen videos of the Siberian man who had hand-to-hand combat. We had hand-to-hand combat happen in Afghanistan as well. So in my perspective, in my military perspective, I believe that both wars, even though you guys think because we had Air Force artillery and tanks and all that, a lot of those things didn't work in Afghanistan. We simply could not use them. So it really seemed like for the average grunt, for anybody who fought in Afghanistan, if you were a grunt patrolling like myself, it felt like sometimes you were at the same level as your enemy. Okay? But I want to say, with that being said, the terror that comes from the drones is absolutely out of this world, okay? When I had my job looking for landmines, I told you my job was looking for landmines. We would call it death from below. And it was something that could happen at any moment, guys. It was something that could happen at absolutely any moment. And a lot of guys we that I knew turned into pink mist and memories. So here you can see in my book, at the beginning of the video I showed you, this was the war diary that I carried in Afghanistan. On the bottom of the castle it says death from below, because you never knew if you were going to step on a landmine or an IED. The drones of Afghanistan were the improvised explosive devices that were in the thousands. They were in the thousands in the floor, kind of like they are now in drones in the sky. Okay, but now it's even worse, because let me tell you, the drone has way better vision, and the drone can come to you. The drone can be operated by somebody who is 100, I don't know how far away, and now they have a way that it beats electronic warfare. Okay, so these drones are no joke. This is something that it is not new to warfare, but the amount that are in the battlefield makes it new. A lot of people will tell you that the drone makes it a modern war. No, it doesn't. It is the amount of drones that are being used that makes it a modern war. The mass manufacturing of these weapons is what makes it a major modern war. Because before World War I, there was not weapons being used in the amounts that they were used in World War I. That is what made it the modern war. You understand what I'm saying? Mass production is what makes a modern war. And the drone being produced in the millions, I bet, is what makes it a hell on earth. So, let's... Who Dat fam, thank you for subscribing. And remember, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, because you ride in on a bear with the president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin. I bet there were mines from the Soviet era in Afghanistan. Yes, so I found Soviet era landmines, believe it or not. And yes, we found Soviet era landmines. And trust me, the landmines that are left over from the Ukrainian-Russian war are going to be there for the next 100 years. Let's continue here. I'm going to continue on with Patrick Lancaster's video, and then we're going to watch the British mercenary get interrogated, okay? But I want to show you Patrick Lancaster's video because pay attention, there's so many landmines everywhere. These landmines are going to be there for 100 years.
Surrounded by mines. We're surrounded by mines now. There's another one. Holy shit. What you're not crowd, Emberson. So, yeah, we're standing in a minefield right now, literally surrounded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drone mines that were dropped by a drone above. Yeah. I get more. What? Two? You almost stepped on one. Look. Holy shit. Да, вот. Барнул. Тут тоже. Тут. We're totally surrounded by airdropped mines right now.
Слушай, братан, ну давай что, дальше их поведем, нет? Давай, ну мы идем чисто по минному полю, идите след в след.
What? Here's another one.
Yeah, and this one here.
And there too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6 over there, so 11. And another 2. Holy shit. Da. I don't know. Holy shit. No, this is the closest, most serious land minefield I've ever walked through.
Oh man, it's hopefully Patrick is not traumatized by walking in a minefield. But you see in this video, I showed you my war earlier, and I'm gonna give you one last clip of my war. So these fields here, this is my war. This is Afghanistan.
Come on, we got it. We got them deployment, yellow people. Yo, what the fuck was that run? Woo!
The Taliban used to flood the fields so we would have trouble fighting them.
That's a little out of my distance right now. Oh, we should be good. Jenkins, you got the rear? And I'm gonna get up on that hilltop.
Now. Hey, 1-3 Bravo, you good up there?
Hey, someone needs to keep rear security.
Okay, so when a lot of you see this network, right? This is a makeshift trench, guys. So again, I earned my combat. I was decorated for combat in trenches and wadis and open fields like that. And I'm emphasizing that again because we're going to be looking at another video from Ukraine so you can see the similarities. Again, I know that I have the experience to be able to do something in this conflict, but I told you because of my language, I can't communicate with another units. After I show you the next clip of the Ukraine and Russian war, I will tell you another reason why I cannot join the military. Now, look at this. Look at these two, right? Very flat areas. Very similar.
Обходи с ними. Давай, переходи. Пошел. Сброс!
I don't know if you guys noticed, but he just jumped over this right here. This wire that he's gonna jump over, guys, that's American concertina wire. That is something that I used in war. Now, what do you guys think? All right, if you guys are still watching this stream, what do you guys think? Is there any similarities from the clips from Afghanistan where you saw my war in open fields and trench wadis and running across open fields, going into ditches? Is there any similarities at all? Okay, because a lot of people can't correlate these things. Usually people have to see it to believe it. But I was showing you clips from my war and how I earned my combat action in Afghanistan. And it's essentially the very similar flat open fields where positions are 100 meters away at a time and you're bounding to positions. So let's finish off this this clip, and we're gonna go back to the interrogation of a mercenary. Now that trench system that they went in is essentially the same size, the same depth as the ones that we saw in Afghanistan. You see the same depth essentially almost on the ones in Afghanistan. This trench, the one that the Russian jumped in, has a berm in front. Okay, the only difference is that in the Russia and Ukraine conflict, they put a berm or a bigger piece in the front. Okay, so it's basically the same style of trench that these guys are jumping in. Look at this. So I want you to notice that he jumps in and it's about waist high. Okay, in Afghanistan, if you were to stand up, it's a little bit lower than the waist, but very, very similar. Let's continue here.
Ты на третий! Иду на третий, креплю став! Груженая! Две груженых! Виля, Виля, по тебе! Вон еще одна висит. Дема, Дема!
All right, so we're going to give that a pause. We've been over my military experience. We've been over what's happening right now. Let's spend 5 minutes again asking questions. But while you guys ask some questions, I'm going to tell you another reason why I cannot fight. Okay? And it's obvious. This is the most obvious reason. My body is broken. Like, I cannot fight because I am not fit. I am not only fat and obese. That is one reason why I cannot go. I'm a fat, obese man. But I have 2 herniated discs on my back. My shoulder is still ripped out of its socket. I have a tear in my shoulder. I have very, very bad knees now. And my body would not survive another campaign. Sometimes when you have the experience, you can serve in the back lines training men. But that would be probably the only job I could do. Hello, guys. Hello. Hello, guys. So, My body is absolutely broken. When I joined the Marines, I was 18 years old, and this was me at 22 years old. In this photo, guys, I was 22 years old, and I was not even done with my campaigns. So this right here is the pinnacle of a man's career. Only in this form would I fight. Okay? Now, another reason why I would not fight for either side is because there's a huge hypocrisy going on in the United States. So if I were to help the Ukrainians, I would be applauded. If I would fight for the Russians, I would absolutely be on a blacklist and never be able to return for the United States. It's a guarantee. And I hope you guys understand that. That is a topic that not a lot of people speak openly. Well, there were many soldiers here in Russia, but the most famous one was, I think, Texas. The veteran who passed away from Donetsk, he couldn't return to the United States for sure. If I served in the Russian military, I would absolutely be blacklisted. So it's so weird that you can fight for the Ukrainians, but you cannot fight for the Russians. The American government would burn me at the stake if they knew that I was serving the Russians. And that's the truth. We're going to be looking at the Russian prisoner. We have a prisoner here. The Russians took him prisoner, rather. If you got late to the show, guys, we're going to show you again one last time how a mercenary was captured. That is one of the reasons why I would not fight, is because if I were to join the armed forces and fight for any side, I would have to be a mercenary. So here is the mercenary, guys. Hello, if you're just joining us, we're going to be looking at how he got captured, okay? Remember, this is a British mercenary.
Found themselves surrounded in a forest while changing positions due to the
I'm gonna fucking shoot them. I'm gonna fucking shoot them.
As soon as he said he's gonna shoot him, he gets surrounded by Russian Marines. He... So guys, that's him getting captured, and now let's see what he has to say. Please tell me if you can hear this, because I'm going to be putting his interrogation on for you guys.
Act and mercenary activity. James Anderson was sentenced by the court to 19 years in a maximum security penal colony. The court ruled that he will serve the first 5 years of his sentence in prison, with the remainder in a penal colony. Here is a full interview with James Anderson. Let's see what he has to say.
Okay, so introduce yourself.
My name is James Anderson. On 24th of May 2002 from Banbury.
And by the way, Sid, you're absolutely right. My dream is, if I could, after the conflict ends, my dream is to be able to help demine the war zone. My job, I did it for so long. I feel confident with the metal detector. And I would absolutely either train people to look for landmines or invent machines that will clear landmine fields. I have already invented my own anti-mining gadgets, I guess you would say. And if in the future, when this is over, I am allowed to give my designs to the Russian government. I've invented 2 mine rollers. I have the designs in my phone. I've invented mine rollers that you can build at home that are safe to use. And I'll describe one for you. Do you guys know how to, those lawnmowers that are push lawnmowers that spin? So my invention is a barrel of those big metal containers, barrels. You can fill it up with cement to a certain amount of weight that will let off only landmines that are meant for toe poppers, like pedal landmines. So you can adjust the weight on this barrel, and let me show you. So my design is, you would have a push, it would be a handles, and it would be a long stick. The stick would be about 15 to 20 meters long enough to push, and it's going to be rolling with the appropriate weight to set off only certain amount of landmines. And it could be made by cheap resources, and it gives you the distance to roll your own front yards, your backyards. And the ones that Patrick Lancaster ran into, you can use the mine roller that I invented. So I'm gonna show you one more time Patrick Lancaster's disastrous. He ran into a minefield, but these are landmines that could be activated by small weight, and the blast would not hurt you if you're from 10 to 15 to 20 meters away with the heavy load on top. I'll show you.
Барю, тут тоже. Тут.
Куда ты завел нас, Сусани? Все мимо.
We're totally surrounded by airdropped mines right now.
Это, слушай, братан, ну давай что, дальше поведем? Нет.
Вот по этой смотри, иди покажи, как что.
Давай, ну мы идем чисто по месту.
So just pay attention. Those landmines here, the landmine that's above my head, okay? A lot of these are toe poppers, okay? A lot of those can be taken out by a certain amount of weight, and with the weight, the blast disperses. Okay, the way an explosion works is it's building up pressure and it has to expand. So when you use the mine roller that I invented in my mind, right, you should be able to push it, and it rolls 15 to 20 meters away at a pole, and the weight itself is enough to disperse the blast beneath it, and it doesn't blast back. Obviously, you can still wear protective gear, but for small pedal mines like that, you would be able to mine roll your own backyard, your own front yard. And if you teach the people in Nova Russia how to build these things by themselves, it wouldn't cost the government so much money. Every person would be able to clean their yards, okay? So that is essentially... Oh, I froze 1 second. I have so many cables here. It's ridiculous. Let me know if we're still live, and we're going to continue on with the show. If you're still watching and you're not subscribed, remember, if you subscribe, you will be shown on the screen, and you will be riding on a bear with Vladimir Putin. Remember to subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Okay? All right, guys. Let's continue on with the show. Remember, we're going to watch the interrogation of... We're going to watch the interrogation of a British mercenary. This is one of the biggest reasons why I tell you guys I would not join the military, because I would be forced to join one of these mercenaries. So here we go.
I come to Ukraine on the 22nd of April 2024, where I joined a raid battalion and went over to Kursk on the 15th of November, where I was captured on the 23rd of November, where I am now in prison in Kursk.
Can you guys hear the voice? And yes, Karen, feel free to unsubscribe and subscribe again to see your name on there. I encourage it, no worries. Is the sound okay, guys? Okay, let's keep going. Privyet from Yambo, my old house in Bulgaria.
What was the reason you came to the Ukraine?
At the time, I lost my job. I didn't know what to do with myself. I couldn't find another normal job in a quick enough time span. And I saw the International Legion for Defense of Ukraine, saw the Western news about what's going on, and decided to come over and, in my mind, try and help.
Tell me, please, what was your salary?
The salary was 20,000 hryvnia a month, which is $400, which is not enough. And then you get $3,000 a day once you're in a combat zone, which is still maybe you're looking at $70 a day if you're lucky, which is the same pay as you'd get working at McDonald's.
What can you tell about your capture?
Position was being contacted. We decided to, we were told to run down and help them, but we'd never seen this position before. By the time we got to them, it was too late. The Russians had already captured the position and ordered us to surrender, which we did. To be fair, the Russian people actually, the soldiers actually got us out. They provided us with food, water, cigarettes. Although at the start, yes, they were angry, they never really hurt me or anything like that.
What about your health condition now?
Health condition's fine, no complaints. A bit tired, but been through a hell of an experience, but no, I'm fine.
Okay, and now you can send a message, maybe to foreigners or to other people of your choice.
For the foreigners, have a really good think if you want to come here. You could potentially end up as me, like me, if you're lucky, worse, dead or injured. I know people that have lost their arms, and like I said, died. It's really not worth it. It's not your war.
Okay, and maybe something you can tell your government or the UK citizens?
To the UK government, I think the UK citizens don't care enough about this war. I think you're sending a lot of money this way, which could be best used on the cost of living crisis. Winter is coming, heating bills are going to cost a lot of money, and you're spending the use of Storm Shadow missiles, which cost a hell of a lot of money, which can be potentially used on civilian targets in Russia, but you've now contributed to the deaths of potentially innocent people in Russia.
Okay, you could address your message directly to your Prime Minister.
To the Prime Minister, I recommend stopping the aid to Ukraine and focusing more on the British people. Maybe I wouldn't be sent out here if you focus on our own country instead.
So you see how filled with regret he is, right? And by the way, Vaughn, I did watch Patrick Lancaster's video. I've actually been watching some of his footage on this live. You can see how ridiculous he feels, right? Because he's pathetic. He had no military training. He was brainwashed and he fought for a side that is losing. The Russians are right now expanding and pushing in many fronts, but he got captured in the Kursk region. He makes him worse than a mercenary, makes him a terrorist. Okay? So we're gonna finish the interrogation, but before we finish the interrogation, please remember, I want to see if you're not subscribed, go ahead, subscribe now, and if you want to see your name, somebody asked if they can unsubscribe, you can unsubscribe, just subscribe again, and we'll see your name pop up on a bear. Because we will be finishing this interview. I want you to pay attention how demoralized he is, how pathetic he looks. Okay? One of the biggest reasons why I told you I cannot join is because that would be my job. No. But it should work. What is happening? The alert box should be working. I guess I just have to do it manually, but sorry guys, sorry. I guess the alert box is not working right now for some reason. That's horrible. All right. So let's go ahead and finish this interview, guys, and then we'll get into some more questions, okay? Eva, what are you confused about? Welcome to the stream. Good fella. What's going on in the chat, guys? What's going on in the chat? Sorry about these notifications. I guess they're not working. Oh, wait a minute. That's working. All right. Okay, there's Michael. It works for Michael. It's working, guys. Look at this. You guys are writing in. Writing in with Vladimir Putin. So let's continue on with the interrogation here. We only have a few minutes left on that.
Okay, maybe you want to tell something else as well.
To the NATO countries, I recommend following what I've just said as well to the British government, stop aid. Russia, we were told to lie that they were not good soldiers. It's completely false. They are good soldiers, they are well trained, they are well armed, they have a lot of equipment. It's only a matter of time before they win the war anyway.
What can you say about the quality of equipment of the Ukrainian army and the quality of military personnel in the Ukrainian army?
The body armour and helmets you get given are not great. A lot of people buy their own. Every weapon I've ever been given has been in terrible condition. I've had to spend hours to making sure that it's okay and in fully functional working order. I've never seen a NATO weapon other than the Browning and now recently the CZ Bren, which is a Czech Republic rifle. The quality of training on the Ukrainians is not great. Maybe I wouldn't have got captured if they were a little bit better. The Ukrainian
okay, you heard it there. He says maybe he would have not been captured. He says maybe he would have not been captured if the Ukrainians were a little bit better, but he wasn't trained himself. I'm telling you, 90% of the guys that are fighting on both sides as mercenaries have no combat experience. No combat experience. And of course, if you survive your first month in combat, you do gain a lot of experience, but you have a lot of dum-dums like this guy who goes and puts a lot of people at risk. Mercenary work is absolutely disgusting. It's delayed. I have all of the settings set for being able to see it. But maybe it takes some time. There's a lot going on right now on the computer. So somebody asked, what do I think about the 6th generation airplane? So I think that surface-to-air missiles and just air defense in general is so good. We have stuff from like Soviet era that is still being used right now. I don't think that having a 6th generation plane is going to be a big factor in the battlefield, okay? You need a lot of them because you better be producing thousands of them. Because if you don't have thousands of them, it's not going to be such a big factor in a battlefield, okay? Especially in a time when drones can start knocking down airplanes these days. There's drones attacking helicopters. It's crazy. Guadalajara, un saludo muy grande a mi tierra natal. Okay, so, Walter, if they must, are the Russian people willing to support the Ukraine, Russia for... So I believe, no, listen, the Russian people will take this fight until the end. There is no losing for Russia, and they have the advantage of being able to fight this war longer than the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians have less weapons, less training, less population, and less motivation to fight. The Russians are taking this as if their entire existence is at stake. There it is, Queens. It is a little bit laggy. It is a little bit laggy. But they come in, guys. Sorry about that. It's a little bit laggy today. But yes, I am trying to answer some of your guys' questions as we continue watching the show here, all right? Here we go.
And then we ended up captured.
And what about the quality of your training and the quality of training of the International Legion that you have witnessed?
The International Legion training is not good at all. It's definitely not enough to go to war with. If you want to really be a good soldier, you need between 6 months to a year of training, not a couple of weeks. It's not enough, especially the civilians that are looking out coming here. My battalion array, we did short stints of training, but again, it's a couple of weeks. It's just not enough.
Okay, and what was the reason you left the 4th International Battalion?
The 4th International Battalion is full of civilians and it's completely unprofessional. It's not like a real army in any way.
Okay, thank you.
He says it himself. It's a bunch of civilians. Now, when this conflict began, both sides were guilty of this. Both sides had a lot of untrained people. And you have to understand what he said. It does take 6 months to a year to train a person to get ready for combat. By the time I hit the front lines, I had already been in boot camp for 3 years, infantry training for 1 year, boot camp for 3 months, infantry training for 1 month, engineer training for 3 months, and I did 7 months of pre-deployment preparations. That's how long it took me to get to the front line. After that, you go to Afghanistan every 7 months, every 7 months, every 7 months. But the training is absolutely essential, man. We saw that we had a Vietnam veteran, man. I salute you. Thank you so much for your service. I absolutely love our Vietnam veterans. I love them to death. Scorpia says, Dan, you definitely should not join the Russian army. It is not my war. That is right. It is not my war. And I don't consider it my war. And I don't take this personally. But one thing that I do take personally is the following. Listen to what I'm saying. What I do take personally is the fact that my government will not punish mercenaries who will fight for Ukraine, but will punish men who will fight for Russia. I will not fight for either side, but my government should not punish some men who fight for Russia. Some men who fight for Russia perhaps want to go visit their families in the future in the United States, or I don't know, they can make their lives. It is illegal for America to raise mercenary armies, okay? It is illegal for America to recruit mercenaries. There is an actual law, but it is not illegal for American civilians to act as mercenaries. And there should be no rule saying what country you can serve. I'm going to show you the law right now. I'm going to show you the law. And you're going to get to see the reality that we live in. Okay, so it's called the Anti-Pinkerton Act of 1893. Okay, the Anti-Pinkerton Act of 1893 forbids the U.S. government from using Pinkerton National Detective Agency's employees or similar private police companies. They're talking about mercenaries. Okay, it's saying that the United States is forbidding the government from hiring these mercenaries. Now, the way they got around that was they made private militaries. They started making private militaries from companies that they can do. And the biggest problem that I have is they allow people to fight for Ukraine, and it's ridiculous. Let's see. Dan, your country and NATO had invested too much money into Ukraine. Yeah, so I think now a lot of people will talk about NATO. I don't think NATO invested a lot of money in this. I think it was the United States. NATO was and is just a useless monster on paper, but it's just the United States, okay? Let's clear this up. This was a failed proxy war by the United States government, and this is why the United States government is looking for peace now. The United States government is looking for peace because it is the one funding the proxy war. NATO is poor. We're talking about European countries, okay? These are absolutely very poor countries. They couldn't even defend themselves. Every time they need defense, America is there with the Navy, the Air Force, and military bases. So you guys have to forget about this. Forget about NATO. This has always been the United States, okay? Let's be real. Now, the United States realizes that its proxy war failed, and what does it do? It begs Russia for a ceasefire. Right now, I made a video about the ceasefire. Donald Trump is acting very nice to the Russians because he understands that he can't continue investing in this proxy war. And what is Donald Trump going to do? He's going to extract the resources from Ukraine to pay for all the debt that they had. The proxy war failed, and now look where we are. That's where we are, guys. Let's try to get some, let's see, what are we looking at for this stream? We have about 100 people watching. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Let's try to get the likes up to 200 likes if we can. If you've been enjoying this live, please do consider subscribing and hitting like. Again, you're supporting a channel that is trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, so this really, really helps. And if you're wondering what I'm drinking, well, I'm drinking water, my friend. I'm drinking water. Also known as Baikal nectar, like Sid has said. So, we're gonna move on now, and I think this is a good time to answer some of your guys' questions. A lot of you guys maybe came in late. Feel free to answer some questions. My thought, yeah. This is your opportunity to ask anything, guys. We've been on this live for about an hour and a half. I would like the likes to get at least to 200. That way we can get a little bit of spread the channel. The channel gets pushed out to other people. I hope you've been enjoying this live. We've been showing you a lot of clips, and we've been going over a lot of things, the correlations between combat experience. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. I've already answered. This is Chris Barsh. Thank you for subscribing and welcome to the channel. Riding in on a bear. I love that. I love that. Listen, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. The war is going to end with one more major battle on the Eastern Front. The Ukrainians have been bleeding out this entire time, and it's going to take one more major battle. Do you think America would go for isolation or at least consolidation, North America and South America? I think the United States wants to make friends with Russia more than ever. I think the United States understands that the northern hemisphere is really important, and I think it wants to secure its power over the northern hemisphere, and Russia is a good ally to have. I think the United States needs Russia more than ever. I do have coffee cups, but I don't like to refill. I drink a lot of water when I stream because I talk a lot. When I stream, I drink a lot of water. My mouth runs dry. It's easier. So I want to show you guys something really, really important. This one I really cannot stand. One second. So I'm going to be showing you a channel here. Maybe some of you guys know this channel. This to me is something that blows my mind, that the United States doesn't do something about this. What I'm going to show you right now is a video of an American mercenary who has been training the Ukrainians. His channel is Civ Div. I don't know where he gets it in his heart to think that it's his war, that the Russians are his enemies. He sees the Russians as like rats. He's very proud to help the Ukrainians massacre Russians, and this is something that I cannot stand. This guy has a huge following on the internet, and he's been doing so much mercenary work that it makes me sick. Now, I think that his background in the Marine Corps is he didn't really fight in the Marine Corps. He had no combat experience. So when he leaves the Marine Corps, he went looking for the rush and he started doing mercenary work. And this is the type of people that I'm telling you that it's not right. It's just not right.
Next point! I learned a lot from being a team leader and squad leader in Iraq, and I want to spread that knowledge onto you guys. First thing I want to mention is obviously communication. Just like any relationship you have, whether you're a leader or not, communication is key. Everybody that I had on my team were there for different reasons. And myself as a leader, I had to cater to all of their needs and wants in order to keep them motivated. So I want to talk about something that's specific.
So you can see this guy's wearing this damn shirt for Ukraine, and honestly, he's such a garbage man. I'm not going to go further into it, but this is the main guy that I cannot stand because he's been training the Ukrainians for so long. I don't know why there's not a law against veterans doing this kind of stuff, okay? Absolutely crazy. And because of him, you can look him up. His name is Civ Div. His name is Civ Div. We're not going to promote him any further, but he is the biggest reason why the United States is a hypocritical government. Because if I were to train Russian troops, I would be dead. I would be dead. You don't understand. It's incredible how fast I would be killed. If I were to train the Russians in infantry tactics, if I were to train the Russians in laying minefields the NATO way, okay, because this guy's been training Ukrainians NATO standards as a mercenary. If I were to train the Russians as a mercenary for NATO tactics, I would be burned as a traitor, an enemy of the state, and I would never do that. I would never do mercenary work. I would never teach other people what I learned in the war, to kill other people or to fight other nations. So I'm gonna calm down now. I'm gonna calm down now, and let's please. By the way, you can support this channel by liking, subscribing, and making sure that you tune in for a future live. We're gonna keep going. I'm gonna show you a little bit more clips. Thank you so much, guys. We got the likes up to 200 likes. Amazing. We have about 150 people watching now. I would like to say, first of all, the channel has a new video that has been getting up to about 20,000 views. Do look at some of my other content, yeah, please. Let's use this opportunity to kind of help the channel grow a little bit. My dream is to have it at 100,000. Who wouldn't want it? It's just what I wanted to say is that because of you guys, the channel is growing, but let's continue to help it grow by liking, subscribing, and putting on notifications. If you enjoy these lives, I'm doing 2 every weekend. This time is one of them, so put your notifications on, guys. Remember, you can open up another tab, take a minute of your time, and please go put on notifications for this channel. It really gives YouTube the incentives to push the channel further. Okay, let's continue on with the show. New life rolling in on the Putin bear. We love to see it. We love to see it. There was a video that we're not finished watching here. Let's look at more footage from the conflict in Ukraine. Okay. I think I found another mercenary.
We got.
Yes, we're gonna watch another mercenary getting captured. Okay. Remember, the biggest reason why I would not join the military is because I would be pushed to be a mercenary. Why are the notifications not working? That is a good question. I'm sorry that the notifications are just off today. What is going on? I'm so sorry about that. I am married to a Russian. I've answered this question, guys. I've answered this question already. And so, look, if I were to have kids and there was another conflict where if Russia were to be attacked and I was still old enough to fight and my son or my daughter was old enough, maybe 15, 16, 17, I would go for them to fight on the Russian side. We're talking about 15 years from now, 20 years from now. If somebody came to Russia and I had Russian-born children, I would fight to defend this country. Somebody once compared me to this character from a video game who was a Marine and he moved to Siberia, and there was a video game about this. I don't know what it's called, but yes, I would do this. I would fight for Russia if I had children and if somebody attacked Russia. There is no question about it. I would not do mercenary work at that point. I would actually be doing true military work. By that point, I would be speaking Russian. By that point, I would be fully embedded into Russian society, and I would have Russian children. And there was nobody that would stop me from fighting for Russia if I had children in Russia who were born in Russia, living in Russia. It's every man's duty to do something like this. No question. Andre, thank you for subscribing. Something is going on with these alerts. Let me see what I can do about this. There is somebody has to know the name of the game, guys. In the game, it is an American who they say I even look like him, who gets It's based out of Vladivostok, I believe. Don't quote me on this. But yeah, thank you so much, by the way, Navel, the donation. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you for supporting the channel. So I'm gonna show you another video of the capture of another dumb mercenary.
Completely destroyed after several months of fighting, an unexpected prisoner of war has appeared.
So my name is Hayden William Davies. I was born on the 9th of December 1994. And I'm from England, born in Southampton.
Originally marked as deceased by public channels, Hayden William Davis was found alive in Touretsk after he abandoned his position and surrendered to the Russian forces. He received medical care and later gave an interview about how he ended up in Ukraine and what his thoughts were about how things are on the ground level.
I joined in 2011 when I was 16, because you can join that young in England. I got removed from the army in 2023 for smoking marijuana. I was based in North Yorkshire in England, and my regiment was the Royal Regiment of Scotland. All over the world, Canada, Germany, Afghanistan, Cyprus. There was a lot of places I wanted to go, but I couldn't because I was under a mental health team. So they wouldn't let me deploy anywhere after a while. I wasn't allowed to hold a weapon. The battalion was under investigation for 9 suicides in a year. Yeah, a few of them were good friends of mine, which led ultimately to my mental health being bad. After 2023, I struggled to find work because it's hard to find a job when all you've done from 16 to 29 at the time is the army. It's very hard to find a civilian job in the UK. So I ended up working in different factories, and then I eventually got a job at Garmin Watches. Couldn't keep that job because my mental health was on. I attempted suicide a few times. I decided to go to Ukraine. No one tried to talk me out of it. Obviously, the airspace in Ukraine is closed, so you fly to Poland and then get a coach from, like, Krakow over to wherever the signing centre is. Mine was in a city called Ternopil. Obviously, with the International Legion, you sign a contract and you're brainwashed into thinking.
Okay, first of all, I want to mention how brainwashed these British guys are, because the majority are British because they're already in Europe. And if you look at him, he doesn't look or act like a soldier. He's not a soldier, he's a mercenary. There's a huge difference between a soldier and a mercenary. A true soldier who has been in combat and who has served with the real military will not act like this when he's captured. I'm going to give you guys a true story about my interrogation with the Border Patrol. Okay? One of the many times that I crossed the border into Russia, they wanted me to give answers to some things. A true military man or woman is only allowed to give certain information. Okay? One second, let me look for something. I'll be right back. Let's keep playing this and I'll be right back.
Thinking that you're in the right. But what I would advise anyone with a sensible head is think about the choices you make. Every single country you'd find in NATO has people in the International Legion. French, Italians, Germans, Americans, English. The most are Colombians. Hundreds. The training that we do depends on your platoon. I was heavy guns. We had no heavy guns, so there was no training. We got given 2 Dishikas. No ammo to learn with, to shoot with, nothing like that. We got given a Mark 19. No attachment for the tripod, so we couldn't take that out or use it. I asked if I could teach javelin, because that's what I did in the British Army. I got promised yes. No javelins. Nothing like that. We're not happy with command that are happy to allow war crimes to happen. I was in a position. Essentially, my job was just a listening post. I personally heard on the radio for someone to kill 3 men, but I remember hearing one of the commanders saying, "Kill them." A different position somewhere, I don't know which position it was, there was, I'm pretty sure it was a woman and teenage boy. They got killed. All of us that were in the listening post, we'd had enough. There was about 12 people that wanted to break contract at that minute. The money is shit, and your chain of command don't care about you. They do not care. They will use you as meat. They'll say you'll be on a listening post for 3 to 5 days. They'll keep you there for 10 and then send you to a different position. I point blank refused to go to a different position. There was no information. We didn't have the equipment. Fuck off. Another bloke died because of drones and stuff. One bloke ran away. I stayed behind and just took cover. I ended up getting grenaded again. Not by Russians. I believe it was by Ukrainians. By drone. Believe it or not. At that point, I decided to find a bunker, and I hid in that bunker for nearly 2 months. A great man from South Africa, dead, left in a wooden box in the middle of Teretsk. The body was 50 meters from my bunker. So I was out looking for food, as I did every day, about 9 a.m. I heard a drone, so I got straight in a building, and I seen another guy. Look, he was out of breath, he was running. I was like, quick, in here. I knew he was Russian, uniform. And when he realised I wasn't a threat, the weapon was down. He gave me a cigarette. Literally carried me into safety, out of the way of all the drones and artillery that was coming in. If you come to Ukraine and you're a foreigner, with me being an exception, there is... The rest of you will get killed. Everyone will die. And it's not pretty, it's not nice. And Ukraine won't care about it either.
Now, many will say that if you join the Foreign Legion, you become a Ukrainian soldier. But there is a catch. First, according to Ukrainian laws, anyone can join and fight. But you will not be granted citizenship right away, which means you are a foreigner fighting in a war outside of your country.
Take that, okay? This is really important, guys. This is really important, and this is what gets a lot of people in trouble if you're captured. Now, we've seen 2 people get taken prisoners by the Russians. I don't know how the Russians have the calmness in their blood to take these guys alive. A lot of people talk so much trash about the Russian forces, but the Russians actually take mercenaries alive, and they've taken at least a dozen prisoners from foreign countries have been taken alive. It is insane. So we're going to continue on with the interview. Again, thank you guys so much for watching and supporting this channel.
This is a major issue because multiple countries have laws against it fighting in a foreign war. For example, since Hayden William Davis is a British citizen, he committed a criminal offense by joining to fight. Under Foreign Enlistment Act 1870, British citizens generally cannot serve in a foreign military, as it is considered a criminal offense. There are exemptions to this if you have a dual citizenship, but since you are not granted citizenship when you join the Ukrainian Foreign Legion, you are now criminally liable if you break contract and return home. And this applies to most countries. In France, you can only fight in foreign wars as a French legionary and not a citizen of France. For Americans, the Neutrality Act of 1794 prohibits citizens from making war against foreign governments that are at peace with United States. The penalty is up to 3 years in prison or be stripped of citizenship. Additionally, your actions will be condemned and very little will be done to help you. Any citizen of the United States who, within the jurisdiction thereof, accepts and exercises a commission to serve a foreign prince, state, colony, district, or people in war against any prince, state, colony, district, or people with whom the United States is at peace shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years, or both. A second provision, 18 U.S.C. 959,
Okay. Just let's keep listening to that.
in relevant part includes both U.S. citizens and non-citizens, and does not depend on whether the foreign force the American is joining is at war. This provision provides that no one in the United States...
Okay, guys. He said something really important. You are not allowed. It's illegal to go to war with the country that we're not at war with. And America is turning a blind eye against all of these mercenaries that are fighting for the Ukrainians. That is the hypocrisy that I'm telling you guys about. Again, that is the truth. If you're fighting in a war against a country that America is at peace with, this is illegal. This is the dirtiest of the dirtiest. This is absolutely disgusting.
States may enlist or enter into the service of a foreign state, nor hire another person to enlist oneself, nor hire another person to enlist themselves in a foreign force, as a soldier or as a marine or seaman on board any vessel. The relevant statutory text for Americans thinking of fighting for Ukraine is Section 959, paragraph A. German citizens cannot legally fight in foreign wars and can only fight as official deployed force. For Polish citizens, this act constitutes an offense punishable by imprisonment from 3 months to 5 years. However, under current regulations in Poland, it is illegal and a crime for a Polish citizen to join a foreign army without obtaining the required consent. And the government will only grant consent if the military service does not negatively impact Poland's interests or violate international law. But if you want to experience war, check out the FAQ portion on Ukrainian Foreign Legion page and judge for yourself. Maybe if you survive, I'll make a video about you. And yes, this also applies to foreigners who are fighting for Russia. But a recent decree signed by President Putin allows for fast track of Russian citizenship if you signed a contract and served for a period of 1 year.
3. Yeah. There. Here. And I think here. This. Bone. Normal.
У него просто кроссовка нету, видимо. Нога целая, как мне кажется. Походу, у него вот одно ранение такое в эту ногу.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Just. It's the Avengers, man. It's the Avengers, fucking Deadpool and that.
Deadpool.
Yeah. Fucking skinhead. I've got too much hair. That's a skinhead.
Who are you old? 30?
30.
Ничего себе.
Well, anyways, there you see he's getting treated really well by the Russians. AD, thank you for the donation. He asks for the war to end. Does Ukraine Does Ukraine will have to give away? Okay, so you're asking, does Ukraine have to give away the 4 regions? No, they don't have to give them away. They've already been annexed by the Russian Federation. Ukraine has no control over what's going to happen to Donetsk, Lugansk, Zaporozhye, and Kherson. Okay, so those are the 4 regions that compose Novorossiya, and Ukraine has no say in that anymore. That is territory that belongs to Russia, and there's going to be no peace unless they take that whole. Now, Odessa, militarily speaking, I've told many people, militarily speaking, Russia should not take the port of Odessa. Russia should take the port of Odessa diplomatically, not with people, not by completely owning it. They can own the port of Odessa and control it from there. But if they have soldiers there and a large navy there, they can be taken over in the future. It's better to have all their forces on the other side of the Dnipro, okay? The Dnipro River is a really good border. You do not want to go into Odessa. I believe that the Russians will be smart and they will not physically take over Odessa, but politically, diplomatically, absolutely they can do it. Crimea is for sure Russian. They voted a long time ago. So, we're going to continue on with this live. Please let me know. Oh, what is this? One second. Okay. Yeah, something happened to my notifications. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. So, yeah, go ahead and ask some questions now. We are going into 2 hours of this live. I feel like we've gone over so many things, guys. You got to learn about my military experience. You got to see how we fought in Afghanistan and how similar it is to see fighting in Ukraine right now. Dan, are there items at the store who still make Mexican food? No, there's nothing that makes Mexican food here. Do you know about the current state of Mariupol? Mariupol is a thriving city, guys. It is absolutely rebuilt. It's a beautiful city. If you guys want, we can go look at that right now. Dispol says, as a Marine myself, I would hate to fight against a fellow brother that was fighting for another nation. I would love to go extra hard against them because the hatred for them would be massive. Yes, so listen, Russia and the United States will never go to war directly. It's impossible. Whoever declares war on the other, they lose the war. I've made the war scenario exactly how the war would turn out. If America declares war on Russia, America loses. If Russia declares war on America, Russia loses. The only way we would fight against each other if we become mercenaries. And mercenary work is not for Marines. Real Marines do not turn mercenaries because we're supposed to keep our honor clean. And that is why when I see mercenary Marines, I know they're not real Marines. We made an oath as Marines to keep our honor clean, rather. And it is important. Let me see. There's something going on here. I have to really adjust these. I have to adjust these notifications because honestly, we had really cool notifications before for the members and the donations, and something really took a giant crap. But going back to the point, there is no world where I would accept a Marine doing any sort of mercenary work. It doesn't make any sense to allow us to fight for one country and not the other. We already know, we've already seen that it is illegal to do the certain things that what the hell? Okay, so it has been so frustrating to see that kind of stuff. Um, Dan, about the Mexican food, guys. Yeah. Oh, the interrogation. Yeah, sorry. I didn't tell you guys the story about the interrogation. So let me get back to my story. This happened maybe a year ago. I was crossing the border and they were asking a little bit too much military information. And I said, look, I can give you my rank. I'm a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. I'm a combat engineer. My social security number is this, and that is all I can give you. Like I told him, I told this special agent, you can ask me 1,000 times, you can get me off this train if you want, but I'm not going to give you any more information. And these guys who are mercenaries, you can tell they're not professional because they blabber everything out. They let loose everything. If you capture me, I'm going to give you my rank, my MOS, my military occupation, my social security number, and my unit. That's all I'm going to give you. Besides that, nothing else. So there's a big difference between mercenaries and true military men. And on both occasions, we saw those mercenaries just blabber out. They were blabbing out everything. Let's see, guys. Do we have any more questions for me? Sorry again about these notifications. They've been so bad today. Our last stream, they were really on and popping. I am so disappointed in myself. I'm gonna make sure to fix the problem. We had stuff like this, where people donated and we have the spasiba by this cute little thing. We also had, this is my favorite. Let's see here. The members, when you become a member, we had Putin on as well. Something's really wrong with my notifications. I gotta get them fixed. What's the weather like? Well, listen, it has been very, very sunny. Siberia is known for its sun. And it's been very, very sunny. I can't complain. There's no more snow on the ground. Let's see. I'm in Oxnard. I know tacos. Thou, if you're in Oxnard, you are in a very special place for Mexican food. Man, that's freaking awesome. Is the border open between Estonia and Russia? It gets open and closed from time to time. You never know. Vaughn asks, have you seen the video Operation 1 captured in Kursk area? No, I have not. Let's look that up. Let's look up a Kursk area. Let's see. Where is the video? Because it doesn't, I only see ones from a long time ago. I don't know where to find it. Yes, I am Catholic, and this Orthodox and Catholic stuff, I'm religious fluid, I guess you would say. I wear my ring on my right hand. I do all the Orthodox things in Russia because this is what I have. Snowden is busy with his second baby. Congratulations to him. Have you gone hiking there? Yes. So I go hiking. I've already gone camping. There's going to be more videos now that spring is coming. If you missed the live from this morning, I went to my plot of land and I walked around in nature. So what I do is I do lives on Sundays. So I maybe do now 3 lives a week. If you tune in on my lives, I might be camping somewhere. I might be at the lake. You just never know what I'm going to be doing. Willie OM, yeah, the Australian guy, pretty chill dude. I hope he gets better. What is your opinion on the current conflict in Gaza? Can you compare your experience with the war in Gaza? Yes, so the war in Gaza is an it's an unconventional war, is essentially what I was fighting. But in this war, one side is absolutely lopsided. In Afghanistan, we were even toe to toe with the Taliban. The Gaza Strip has been absolutely obliterated, and I think that the state of Israel is absolutely abusing the Palestinians. Okay, Gaza is not Hamas. Hamas is not Palestine, but they just carpeted the entire region, and it's a tragedy what's happening there. What are the experiences crossing the border? So when you cross into the Russian Federation, it's a hit or miss if you're going to get interrogated or not. My first times I was not bothered, but then I started getting questioned a lot. Have I met any Venezuelans here? No, I have not. The majority of the Venezuelans and the Colombians are fighting on the Ukrainian side. I think, look, my PTSD comes and goes. I still have it very, very acute when I hear things. Like if I hear clicking sounds near my ears, I just have mini flashbacks. If somebody slams the door, it's just because I spent a long time with demolition, guys. I spent a long time in front of people getting shot at. It's okay. Okay, guys, so 11 days ago, shocking, we're going to open this up. Our moderator, Vaughn, is coming in clutch. We're going to be watching a video of a Abrams being captured by the Russians. Enjoy.
In recent hours, footage circulating online has revealed a striking development in the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The Russian army, deployed to the Kursk region to reclaim territories seized by Ukrainian forces, has reportedly captured a fully operational and undamaged M1A1 Abrams tank. One widely shared video shows the American-made tank being towed from the battlefield by a Russian engineering vehicle, appearing intact with no visible signs of damage. Unverified reports suggest that the Ukrainian crew operating the tank may have surrendered, handing over the military hardware to Russian forces. Alternatively, it's possible the crew abandoned the vehicle before it fell into Russian hands. The exact timing of the video remains unclear, leaving questions about when this incident occurred and under what precise circumstances. This event marks another chapter in the saga of M1A1 Abrams tanks caught up in the war. Over the past year, there have been several instances of these American tanks being captured or destroyed. In December 2024, posts on X indicated that an undamaged Abrams had been delivered to Russia's Urovanzavod, a major military manufacturing facility, joining other foreign equipment like German Leopard tanks and American Bradley vehicles. The delivery was described as a Christmas gift from Kyiv, though details about how it was obtained remain murky. Earlier reports from 2024 also documented Russian forces destroying Abrams tanks in Ukraine, with at least 4 confirmed losses in the Special Military Operations Zone by March of that year, according to hacked Ukrainian military documents shared by the group, Berezhny. These incidents highlight the vulnerability of even advanced Western hardware in the intense combat environment of Ukraine. The fate of the Abrams tanks began with their delivery to Ukraine in 2023. The United States pledged 31 M1A1 Abrams tanks as part of a broader effort to bolster Ukraine's defenses against Russia's invasion. The first sightings of these tanks on the front lines emerged in February 2024, but their battlefield tenure has been mixed. By late 2024, reports suggested that over 20 of the 31 delivered tanks had been either destroyed, disabled, or captured. Footage from drones and social media has shown Abrams tanks succumbing to Russian kamikaze drones and guided artillery, raising questions about their effectiveness in this particular war.
I'm gonna stop for a second, and one of our members asked if you're supposed to destroy the equipment. Yes, you are supposed to destroy it, but in this instance, Josue, the Russians moved at such a speed that the Ukrainians were not able to destroy their equipment, and they were captured, it seems like. So it's a very difficult thing for that crew to destroy. Sometimes you don't even have the proper explosives. But let's continue watching. There is another thing that you can do. Like engineers, what we do is we have already pre-made explosives like booby traps. When we leave positions or we leave equipment, we have a time fuse. We pop smoke, the time fuse burns, and by the time the enemy gets there, he blows up. But these guys are not trained in that kind of stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of the tactics that we used, the Russians and the Ukrainians could actually use in their conflict, booby trapping the heck out of things. I learned how to booby trap everything. Everything. I used to take shits in Afghanistan and sometimes just put a block of something, a little bit of C4 here, a little bit of C4 over there. You never know, right? I used to make C4 grenades. I used to carry extra grenades. You always got to carry more explosives. So that is just a lesson that I'm trying to teach you guys. That is what I learned in my war. Let's continue watching here. They also captured intact howitzer. That is right.
Critics have pointed to several reasons why Abrams has struggled in Ukraine. The tank, designed for large-scale conventional warfare, faces a different reality in this conflict, where low-cost drones and portable anti-tank weapons dominate. Analysts note that the Abrams' sophisticated systems, while cutting-edge, require extensive maintenance and a steady supply chain, resources that Ukraine, under constant pressure, struggles to provide. The tank's gas turbine engine, which guzzles fuel at a high rate, has also been flagged as a logistical challenge in a war zone where supply lines are frequently disrupted. According to a December 2024 report from DNES.BG, U.S. officials have acknowledged these difficulties, with some questioning whether the Abrams is suited for Ukraine's needs. Ukrainian forces have even pulled some Abrams tanks from the front lines, as reported by AP in April 2020.
Thank you, Vaughn, for sharing that video of the captured Abrams. You know, it's so embarrassing, the amount of stuff that we've lost as Americans that we've donated to this dumb cause. It's very embarrassing to see the things that I grew up training with, like some weapon systems, demolitions, javelins, C4 satchels, grenades, all of these things that I used. It's very embarrassing to see them being captured. Now, it doesn't have to be Russians. I'm embarrassed that we gave them to an enemy of any kind. Of any kind. So we are running up on 2 hours and 15 minutes. Let's spend the next 15 minutes answering some questions, guys. We're getting towards the tail end of the live here. I hope you've been enjoying this. Remember to subscribe. Remember to subscribe if you're watching. And if you want to participate in the next live, subscribe so you can talk with the rest of the chat. Yeah, I've been trying to eat I'm on a carnivore diet right now, actually. What is the nightlife like in Irkutsk? Yeah, there's a huge nightlife in Irkutsk. A lot of young people, really hip outside. Yeah. So, listen, guys. Remember, please, if you're watching this, turn on your notifications for this channel. We are going to be doing more lives like this, going over news or going over topics that I find interesting. But we're also going to be outside in the wilderness, camping next to Lake Baikal. We've been doing these lives now for about 2 weeks, and the crowd is just growing. Thank you guys for the members. My favorite food is borscht here in Russia. Yes, so channel members, if you're watching, please give me a 2 thumbs up by President Putin and President Trump. Sign me off like this, blast me off into my sleep by spamming. If you're a channel member, there should be an emoji of Donald Trump with 2 thumbs up and an emoji of President Putin with 2 thumbs up. Please, yes, I'm ready to be a father. Hopefully I can have a child soon. Please sign me off, guys, with the love. Thou, thank you. Whoa, we got the thing. We got the notifications. Thou, thank you so much for blessing. There it is. What the heck? Why are the notifications working now? I'm so happy they're working. Thou coming in again. Thank you so much for gifting these memberships. Blessing the stream. No, really, the road to 100,000 subscribers, I feel like it's gonna be like this, by doing lives and sticking with the kind of content that I do these lives on. I know a lot of people have been interested on why I haven't gone to fight in Ukraine, and I hope that this live gets you guys to the truth of why not only I shouldn't go, but why other people should not go. A lot of comments I get are hateful, and whoa, that guy's name is Goblin. Wow, that's hilarious. We actually have the ungrateful goblin emoji in our emoji box. This is hilarious. That guy's name is Goblin, and we have the green goblin for Zelensky. Now, you new channel members, you can spam when somebody's being dumb. You can spam the green goblin. That's hilarious. Yes, so I think tomorrow I'm gonna be publishing a video, a summary video. It's gonna be video talking about exactly what we went over today, but it's gonna be a summary, okay, guys? So I hope you guys tune in to watch that video. Please support by putting on notifications, and if you enjoyed this live, you should enjoy the next video that I produce. It should be coming out tomorrow. What I'm going to be doing is live with a topic and then putting the video condensed version on. I think it's a good way perhaps to continue growing this channel. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me again. Sorry that the notifications were off. Join the Telegram, The Russian Experience. I totally forgot to talk about it. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, join my Telegram.